Good day, race fans, and welcome to the Intentional Wreck podcast made by race fans for race fans, from the casuals to the lifelong gearheads. My name is Jeff. I'm here with my fellow hosts, Corey and Finn, and you can find us on Twitch, as you probably already have, under the name Intentional Wreck Pod. You can find us on YouTube under the same name, and look for us under the name Intentional Wreck on all of your favorite audio platforms. We are coming off of for some of us, it was a very nice race at Vegas, and it generally like entertaining. And I would say those last like probably 10 to 15 laps were pretty edge of your seat. And most of the general race itself was pretty entertaining. How are you fellas feeling?
Oh, I'll let Finn take that one because
You feel
this is going to be more.
If one of these guys won victory lane, it would have just been a rant about yesterday as a whole for the Commander. So, I feel good. The race was fantastic. As one thing I was thinking about was, as we're hearing all this stuff about the playoffs, and as the key people in NASCAR are making decisions right now on what the future of the sport's going to look like, we need NASCAR to come through with what I will say is unmanufactured drama. And we got that, right? There wasn't a manufactured caution that led to that restart with 17 to go, leading to 2 tire stops and chaos. It was Ty Dillon miscommunication between the 10 car and the 24 team, and then what might have been one of the most intense wrecks I've seen all year long. Up there when
Priest, maybe Chicago.
Remember when Priest hit Larson?
Yeah.
On that's what that one felt like.
T-boned him.
It was just like, Byron had no time. Just like lift, he was sliding, and then boom. So you're just kind of bracing for impact. So, and that flipped the championship standings up on its head, right? Because Blaney, hit the wall. They had a right front go down, and then of course that 2 tire stop by Briscoe and Logano to Briscoe trying to steal the race, Logano trying to improve his position. I don't think that car had a chance. And then, of course, a straight up battle between the 5 and the 11. That was a banger. It would
have been great if it happened behind the 19 or it continued a little longer.
I wonder if the fact that the 19 was in front is what made that battle so good, because there was no clean air.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was part of the back, right? Otherwise, you could have had a scenario where the 5 just aero blocks, but that 11 was extremely strong. The 19 was strong all day too. He just, the 2 tire gambit didn't work out for him, but just with.
That's what happens when you do that. Like you take that, and when it pays off, it's amazing. When it doesn't, you took a chance, you gave it a shot, and it just didn't quite get you there.
Also, in the context of the race, at the point in the race that they were at, with Byron and Blaney both being out,
right?
You take that chance there, and you go, okay, 3rd is better than 7th,
right?
So we'll just take the 3rd and be good,
right?
Because he was faster than everybody other than the 11 and the 5 on the 2 tire stop. So take your 3rd place and go to Talladega, finish the race, and then you're in a good spot. I mean, he's in a much better spot after Vegas than he was before. So,
right. About as good as they could have gone outside of winning for the 19, and that's
for sure.
The GGR guys have completely ramped it up. Bell, another P3 finish. I mean, right now, what has been Larson P2 and Bell P3 back-to-back weeks? Like the contenders have come to play, and right now. Yeah. It's the 11, the 5, the 20, and the 19. And I don't see how it's anybody else after this weekend. Obviously, there's still 2 races to be won by somebody, and anybody can win those races. But that, to me, that has to be the champ 4 right now after what happened to Byron.
Yeah, well, the cut line is 15 points right now. Mm-hmm. So,
well, and that's one of the things that's cool when you get to this round, right? Is that the disparity between the cut line is about the same as where it was in a round of 12. Right. But the margin for error that leads to you actually making a change, it becomes a lot more sharp. Mm-hmm. And it becomes a much bigger deal when you run into these situations where you have these large lap clusters in which you're gaining or losing points and putting separation between the other folks that you're at. And now when we're one race over and we have a winner, so therefore we have an automatic advance, you're not talking about 4 spots at the top. There's only 3 available now.
Right.
So
Briscoe and Bell are only separated by 5 points. So like that cut line is 15, but honestly, it could either way. I mean, 5 points is nothing in this system. So
yeah,
I will say to the credit for all of the knocking that we have done and will continue to do in some capacity. Right now, the playoffs are playoffsing, and it's not the worst thing in the world when you consider entertainment value. Is it good for the sport in the long term as far as where we're going? That is its own very heavy discussion. But right now, from an entertainment perspective, the playoffs are tight.
The rounds are not what makes makes the championship winner illegitimate. That's not what's making that's the case. It's not the rounds.
The single race
it's
is what
the
kills
single
it.
race. It is the one singular race. Who's the best at Phoenix? That is what is annoying to me. But I mean, even if you split the playoffs up into 2 rounds, or made the rounds bigger, or whatever their game plan to do is, it was never that. That absolutely brings chaos to the fold, but and makes things interesting. But also like. Yeah. Oh, great. You could win 9 of those races and then you lose the last one. You finish second in the last one and like, oh, no, and we beat this horse many, many times. But and NASCAR's heard it. So I guess this will be the last year that we get to bitch about this, right? Is,
NASCAR was like, shut up
I'm
already.
with it. So as much as we're complaining, this will be the last illegitimate champion in NASCAR. So when it's Denny, I get to live with this forever. I kid.
Please go ahead.
But he
as I said earlier this year, I've said it other times, if this is the time, as much as I'm sitting in this giant black hole of anxiety for the next few weeks, regardless, no matter what, like if it happens and he finally gets it, nobody's telling me shit. Say whatever you want. Nobody's telling me a goddamn thing.
I joke, but this would be one of the few this style of playoff championships that I think would be legitimate. I mean, he has 6 wins. There's only one driver that is touching him in the wins department, and that is SVG, right? But like, Bell's got a lot of wins, but I mean, Hamlin has by far been one of the better drivers all year long. He's had one of the most consistent seasons. He's kind of been a no-go on road courses, but literally everywhere else, he's dominating. Short tracks, he's dominating. Mile and a half, he's dominating. Hell, if it wasn't for the guy filling up the gas at the 600, we probably are watching him win a crown jewel this year. So I'm cool with it if Hamlin wins this year. It's been a long time coming. I mean, I still remember back when he was leading with 10 laps to go at Homestead to win what would have been, a championship, and I think misfortune went. So he has absolutely had a championship or 2 stolen from him. So if he gets this one, I can live with that. I won't call it as illegitimate as I have maybe the Logano ones. I want to do my weekly segment of hating on the 48 team, if you guys don't mind. This is
we could supplement the lack of victory lane because Nick won this week. So with him not being here, we'll supplement that section with Finn taking an opportunity to beat on the 48 car.
Yes. This week the 48 team managed to put the 48 car P3 with the freshest tires on the field with 17 laps to go. And my 2 complaints are this. One, we're back in the scenario where Blake Harris continues to build a car that's great on the long runs in a era of NASCAR that long runs do not matter. That's my first complaint, right? Who cares that you're faster 45 laps into a run, Blake? Who gives a shit? Everybody's about to pit, get tires, and you're going to be back to being slow. However, Alex Bowman, if you are the first car on 4 fresh tires and you're P3 and you are not leading that race, it's a you problem, brother. Now, I get it. Logano blocked the shit out of you. He's a playoff driver. He probably lifted because he didn't want to be the guy that turned Logano. I get it. You're not playoff racing. But holy shit. That's my, the amount of times I would go, oh, wow, Bowman's up front. And then I like step away for a second, and then I come back, and I'm like, okay, so there's Larson, and then there's Hamlin, and then there's Briscoe front. Okay, I'm like, where the fuck did Alex Bowman go? You're like P9. How are we doing this? So it's just a weekly frustration with this 48 team because, and I was talking to Nick about it. There is this idea of being the fourth Hendrick car, right? Right? You remember Jeff growing up, the Casey Mears. Okay, whatever. You know what I mean? Kyle Busch had to deal with, I would say, not lesser equipment, but being the fourth Hendrick car, right? There were always guys that, okay, the 48 is not the fourth Hendrick car. That should never be the thing. Okay, the 48 should not. The 48 is, I mean, the 24 is the flagship. We get it, but and granted, just to be clear, the 48 team became the 5, and then the 88 team, which was the fourth car, became the 48. If you remember how the transition went. But yeah, that's extremely frustrating to watch. It's just a car with a 40. At this point, just make it the 25 car, get rid of the 48, sell it to Legacy Motor Club, so that I don't have to watch that anymore because it's very frustrating week in and week out. Elliott fans are upset because Elliott might have had the only car that could handle the 11. By the way, that car was bad fast.
What happened to him?
I believe he got a uncontrolled tire.
Oh no!
And he ended up a lap down because I remember early in this race, I believe
that is right. Yeah, he ended up a lap down.
I believe early in this race there was a time where after pit stops came out, I watched the 9 walk down the 19, the 11, and the 5. So the 9 car, Dega's coming up. Didn't he win Dega last year? Or he's got a couple wins at that, that style of track.
Yeah, he's a contender there.
I do fear the 9, but he definitely has to win to get in. But that was right now Hamlin, the 19. That would be the only 2 teams I'm willing to bet on right now.
So you bringing up what's going on with the 48, what has happened or what could happen with the 48, raises a hypothetical that I was thinking about as you were going over that. And it primarily just comes from my own position with how I feel with what happened with the 18 car, for example, is what, like, 48 sold the Legacy or something like that. That's one thing. What if Hendrick just hung it up and new car, new number goes to Hendrick, and the 48 is no longer on the racetrack?
I'm fine. I'm fine with it because just to be clear, 25 was like always the Hendrick number. I believe that was their first number. That's, if you want to bring back the 25, I don't think there needs to be a 48 car per se at this point. Because one, what makes the 24 look good, in my opinion, is that while Byron has his own stuff with the Liberty scheme and the Raptor scheme, when they go back to that Exalta scheme and they've got the 24 with the flames on it, yes, sir. You know what I mean? Yes, sir. But there's nothing about the current Ally car that reminds me anything of the Jimmy era of dominance. It doesn't even have the yellow 48 on it. That Hendrick yellow number doesn't even have that. At this point, let it go. Let it go.
Yeah.
We can bring back the 25. It's got the 5, the 9. Are there any other?
It's miles worse than the other 3 this year.
He's just, I mean, he's not been horrible, right? Like, Richmond finished P2, like they're good, but the problem is it is a long run speed car. Every week, Alex is losing 10 spots on restarts to gain 7 back. And then Blake Harris, when he does get to the front, he never makes the right strategy call. Never. Has never. To this day, I think it was that Vegas race. Got all the way up to P3. And then they stayed out for track position when they were in P3. I'll never understand what Blake Harris was thinking on the box. But that being said, a very, very good Vegas race. I'm very, very happy.
It was.
With that. Nonetheless, multiple lanes, multiple grooves. The leader could be passed. And overall, I think the best car won that day. That's another thing too. It's always there's always upsets, but like I tell you what, I was shaking when it was 17 to go, and I'm seeing Logano in the front row, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, this guy. Jesus Christ, this guy.
I had a similar feeling, and what I thought, one of the things that made especially the ending of this race great, was that there was that buildup. The very unfortunate caution that happened in the way that it did, which I feel like we could probably dive into for another minute or so here shortly. But when that took place, you really kind of started to see what the potential finish was going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that made it interesting was having so many of your like playoff contenders sitting up at the front, running decently, and like that last restart before everything really got going again, or what was it at 17 laps? I think that's about accurate. Is like you got to see, you could see something was going to unfold. You could pick out 3 or 4 cars and say, okay, these are the ones that are going to separate. And as long as nothing kooky happens here, we could be watching like some real, like, we could watch exactly what we've been asking for, some actual dynamic racing to take us to the end without some silly season bullshit. And that is what that actually unfolded to and what it turned into. And I thought it was, I don't know, that was one of the things I think that was great, is like, because you get sometimes where, so, somebody's out, clear outright winner, running, and then you get a caution, and then thing comes back, and then it may not have necessarily been manufactured, but it could have felt somewhat manufactured. This wasn't that. This was, you had it up. You felt like there was at least a few cars that were going to have a shot to take that win, and that restart only compounded that.
Right.
Which I think that's what you're really looking for.
Right.
But back to the other point, the actual caution itself with Byron running into Dylan. For anybody that may still be watching confused as to what the hell happened on that one, Finn, just like maybe we could shed a little bit of light on why. Because I'm sure there were quite a few people that are sitting there watching this and they're going, what the hell just happened?
Right.
This car, like, because I know one of the things that got me was the fact that all the radio communication was indicating that Dylan was planning to go down pit road.
Right.
And if you watch the replay, he was beyond the entry point to pit road by the time he got hit. The hell is that?
I think a couple things. One, I think if you're Dylan and you see these two battling, does it really hurt to go one more lap after letting Byron clear you? To just not, just for risk in general, right? You've got 2 extremely fast cars coming behind you, right? I get that, the field's coming too. Well, no, this was a long green flag run, so this has been a while, and an opportunity to just not have that happen. But second, they talked about like, hey, a common thing for drivers to do is put your hand out the window, let people know you're pitting. That didn't happen. Ty said he felt like the spotters handling. Just so everybody knows, the spotters can't just like talk to each other and text each other, right? Like they have to turn and find, like the spotter of the 10 has to turn and find the spotter of the 24, and he's got to say, there's a hand signal. That's way too loud to have a conversation. Am I going high? Am I going low? Are we pitting? What is that hand signal? Is it the same for everybody in the field? Or is it, are you out there with a whiteboard pitting? You know what I mean? Like pitting, you just start turning around and everybody's like, oh, there's a whiteboard. Oh, 10's pitting.
Is it fair catch in football? Like that kind of deal where you get some people that kind of do this and you get other people that are air traffic controllers out there? Yeah, exactly.
Right. And then also, like, at what point in the lap did the 10 decide to pit? And then does that realistically give the spotter enough time? There's a lot of things, and that just goes to understanding the complexities, right? It's more than a just turn left sport. Like, as you saw, a split-second thing could lead to very, very, very violent crashes and wrecks. And these guys...
And in this case, knocking a bona fide championship contender below the cut line with 2 races to go.
Right. Right, all because they decided to pit right then instead of just letting them go by. So, certainly.
So, but I will ask this though: Did he really have no? Did he really have no chance to like make some kind of move to not absolutely plow into him full speed, Byron?
Yeah, I mean, because at this point, right,
he was in the gas all the way up until he hit him.
That's the thing, is like with the way that you're racing these cars, you are on the edge of grip the entire time. So when he is now arced in and he's coming up, he's not going to be able to move the car. And even then lifting, it's not like, oh, the 10 got a little loose and then we're both checking up, right? A la Larson at
10's slowing down to
Darlington.
50 miles an hour.
He's slowing down to 50 miles an hour in your lane while you're at about $150. There's nothing he could have done, right? Because of even if he starts to brake, he's gonna hit him. Second is he's not gonna be able to. You're not gonna be able to get any wider than you want without completely unloading the car, which is just as dangerous. If you start making major moves with the wheel while that car is loaded the way that it's loaded, coming back up the track off the bottom of the corner. So, either way, I think the 24 is just completely toasted. So, which is unfortunate for him, really.
I mean, you don't like of all of the shit that I talk about Hendrick in general and have over been the sort of standard anti-Hendrick guy. Byron seems like a decent dude.
Yeah.
That like it seems to generally race people clean and stuff, and is a good person in the sport for the sport, right?
Yeah.
And you don't. It's like the old mantra: you got to beat the best to be the best. And if that guy's not in the championship for the way his season has gone, it hasn't been great, but he is a contender. And I'm not saying his season is over, but that sure as hell didn't help.
Yeah.
I mean, he was heading for a top 10 finish.
Yeah, because he hasn't really been that good at Martinsville outside of the one race that he won where like nobody could pass at all. And
But the one where he was like sick after, like his AC didn't work or something, or he didn't have power steering.
I can't remember. No, it definitely wasn't power steering.
One that his mom was at the track and he got like, I mean, he dominated the field that entire day.
It was like nobody could pass.
I think it might have been 2 years ago that this one was this one happened.
So, but I think he'll be fine. That being said, though, he definitely needs a win. Him and the 9 need a win in a bad way. I mean, everybody's going for a win in a bad way, but I think they are now in must win to get in territory. Because I think the 19 has been really just the 19 car with Truex there was always the joke about Martinsville. It's Martin.
But it's not Martinsville that anyone's worried about at this point.
But Chase is also really, really good at Martinsville as well. So I'm queuing up the 19 for a win there. As for Talladega, all bets are. I want to say one more thing about Vegas though. The wreck after they went to green for that restart, right? After the Byron thing.
Where Ty Gibbs pushed Alex Bowman through the middle or whatever happened there. It was very weird.
Bell went through the middle into a lane that wasn't there, and that snapped the car down into Gibbs. And it's very interesting to me who he snapped down into Gibbs, which means this car was up there in the top 7 at an oval. SVG looked really
at a legit oval.
At a legit oval was very impressive, and if that is a sign for things to come, you know what I mean? Because he was there at the end of that race, and that was just a matter of a playoff driver trying to push into a lane that wasn't there or anticipating. But he was quick. He was quick in qualifying. He was quick here. So very interested to see how that goes. But nonetheless, guys, you want to talk about?
Ben's been waiting. He's like, can we get done with this NASCAR bullshit and talk about games, please?
Last point about IRL racing. Justin Haley's out of the 7.
Ooh, okay.
We did get that note today.
Yep. Finally, news came out the day of our podcast. The 7 is going to be empty. Who do you think slots into the 7? Right? Looking at who they have, they've got McDowell and they've got Hocevar. Who slides into the 7?
The first name that I saw put there was Suarez.
I've heard. I just don't know right now. Do you know who's racing Justin Haley every week in the back of the pack? Daniel Suarez. I don't know if this is the time for a lateral move. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
I don't know if there's any guys down that are ready to jump up. You know. So I don't know I don't think Corey LaJoie is pinned back in for that ride. So
no, not at Spire for sure. They're not on good terms.
You know, so interesting there. I
mean, would that be an upgrade for Hocevar
to the 7?
to the 7 from the 77.
At that point, you're just
Lateral
rebranding a
move.
number. Yeah, you're just.
Right.
We talked a lot about Hocevar and their crew and how they coach him as a young driver. I think you don't touch any of that. 77 without a doubt is the fastest car. I mean, McDowell did have a top 5 at the Roval, but he's the fastest car of the Spire bunch. I don't know who you put in that. You know, there's going to be guys that have money that are going to be, you know, people you can put into that ride. I don't know the logistics of what Spire's looking for. Suarez certainly could do it. I don't know what kind of funding he has.
Is there any point in even saying Justin Allgaier?
Justin seems to be content with not leaving Xfinity, which I agree. I've yelled this before. Why run 20th on Sundays when you can win on Saturdays? You keep your name relevant by being in victory lane. You keep sponsors relevant. If hey man, do you want to be in victory lane? Do you want to see a car with your logo on it doing donuts and celebrating championships, or do you want to see it? Because guess what? Right now, Xfinity is doing just as good numbers as like F1 is doing.
Is Zilich already got his full ride next year?
Yes,
right?
He will be in the.
Right.
It's not
So
the
there
99
goes
car.
Zilich.
It's the 99 slot. Yeah.
So you're talking about then Austin Hill.
Hill's an interesting one because Hill might be coming up to RCR. So that would mean, I mean, Kyle's locked in on money, but I don't know what the deal is with that.
Brandon Jones, maybe.
Brandon Jones has money.
Sammy Smith, he's too young. He's not ready for that yet.
I don't hate like Sam Mayer, who has done solid, but you know, I don't think Sheldon Creed. Yeah. Sheldon Creed doesn't have a win in Xfinity.
Austin Hill to me is the obvious one if you're looking for an Xfinity Series Chevy driver.
I don't know.
Probably
he's got a bad rep. I think he would want to go Jesse Love almost. Again, we've talked about Corey Heim trying to land a spot, right? If you're Corey Heim and Toyota doesn't have a slot for you, and a Cup car that can run top 20 comes calling, you know.
Yeah.
Who knows, right?
Yes.
So
that's where the big question comes. The big question there, more than anything else, it touches on what you were talking about, Finn, is like what is the appetite fact? We've had this discussion before of like, yeah, you take the chance to go to the show, but also at the same time, like whatever your situation is, like I totally agree with you on what you're saying about Allgaier, because I mean, at this point, you have the luxury to kind of wait for the right choice.
Right.
But you have this other cluster of guys who it's probably going to be better for their career to take a quicker chance to get up to the front, even if that means they're going to be running in the back of the pack on a regular basis.
Right.
But, yeah.
Yeah, and then if you're Heim, you don't even have a ride in Xfinity right now. So it's you know, where am I jumping? So very, you know. Or, you know, if we could think of a business decision, I know it's valuable, but like maybe sell the damn charter.
Well,
sell it to Junior.
Right now
we also don't know what's going
to happen with charters in general.
Junior buying
weird
RCR.
Time for charter sales.
There's a lot of stuff.
It's a weird time for anything discussing charters going into next year. And maybe that's also where some of the news may be a little slowed down because you may not be as solidified as you think you are growing into next season. So
cool. Shall we get to the fun?
We could be seeing the goofiest or craziest level of stuff.
So
let's talk about it.
What have you guys been playing this week?
So if you've been living under a rock, NASCAR 25 has dropped. Us three and many of the guys in our Discord have spent the weekend playing it, and I think it's time for us to get our first fleshed out review on the game.
Link to that Discord will be in the description of the episode.
Yes. All right, let me throw this first at you. Let's break this down into some categories, okay? Driving feel. Okay, how do we feel? I'm on controller, Jeff, you're on controller, Corey's on a wheel, right? And we know that a force feedback patch is coming, so keep that in mind when listening to Corey's thoughts. But Jeff, how do you feel driving the car? What assist are you using? This isn't to assist bully anybody, but just contextualizing what you know, what they know, what he knows, what everybody's driving, because we're all running different things. So I think it's good to know. So what assist are you running, if any, and then how does it feel driving?
So I fired up the game and went like the first race that I ran was the default difficulty that they first started. Because one of the things that I really wanted to do was, what if I just don't touch sliders and I am just I'm going to show up to this as average Joe user who just wants to fire up the game and play. And I can say that the starting difficulty was a little less for me. I wanted a little bit more. I needed a little bit more of a challenge myself. So I bumped it up another notch to with the hard difficulty, but not the expert level. And I could say that the normal didn't it just felt almost unnatural with the ease, but that was also because I've been playing other racing games and stuff like that, so my feel is going to be different than somebody else. But the
There's
next
also
level
something
up,
fun about dominating.
well, there is, yeah. But the next level up was perfect for me because I still have one of the things that I'm looking for more than anything else is I don't want to feel like I'm just, I will push the gas and I'm faster than everybody else in the field and this is just no fun. What I'm looking for is to be able to have a dynamic experience every time that I put a car out there. And now I have that and it feels good because I don't feel like I'm going to win every race. I don't feel like I have so much cushion to where I am incapable of, where it's so bad that I can't control the car at all, or that it's the other way around where I can control it so well that there's no chance that I could have a problem with trying to have to dial some things in while I'm actually driving. So that felt really good for me. And I will say, just compared to Heat in that department, the feel is much different. It's more comfortable. It feels good. It feels like you actually have the ability to you can actually feel the car a lot more than you could in previous games. And I understand the bar was in hell, but they did a great job of creating an actual dynamic racing experience that allows you to different tracks feel differently. Your strategy has to be different just in general of having to actually maintain a line. Driving and having to deal with tire wear felt much different, felt much better. So far I have nothing but positive things to say about that factor.
All right, what you got, Corey?
Physics are great.
No.
I don't think anybody expected them to miss on that. Like this group that is iRacing Inc. or whatever, they got the physics right. That is the foundation, that is the keystone that a racing game is built on. Does the car feel like a car? Not you're driving a laser bike around the field or around the track, right? So like it's it should be imperfect. It should feel like you're a little bit out of control sometimes. It should feel like you'll have a little float, you'll feel it get a little loose, and you'll feel it get a little tight, and you'll feel like all those things that a car does in the universe, it should do. And again, not to dunk on Heat because that is the past now, but Heat did that very poorly. The physics were terrible. Um, they really got that right. I really only have two complaints about the game at all so far, and that is they clearly missed a couple things with a couple of the tracks of just how they look and how the graphics processing works. Like we did one race on Pocono and it looks awful. Um, it just like the engine just can't keep up for whatever reason with at that track. So there's some things that need to come out to get that fixed. And the other one is, and this is through no fault of iRacing or anyone having to do with making the game, the online lobbies are atrociously bad. Just such a disappointment that people can't go on there. It's different than iRacing. In iRacing, you kind of have to not drive like an asshole because you will legit get your subscription banned. They can't do that with this. So people are going in there and just bombing it into corners, 3 times the speed of the field. and using the other cars as their brakes. So other than that, it feels great. Physics are great. The career mode is way more fun than I thought it was going to be. I'm not a career mode guy at gaming generally. I like online lobbies, but I guess maybe some combination of the online lobbies being really bad and the career mode actually being kind of fun and engaging. And feeling like you're competing, right? Like that's the part. Like I don't really like playing against AIs usually, but and in all seriousness, the most fun I've had with it so far is a private lobby with a couple of the boys, racing against a full field of AIs in a longer race. Me and Jeff did like 70 laps at Las Vegas against some AIs, and it was an absolute blast. I probably should have won the race and got screwed over on pit strategy. But super fun for me. I mean, I'd give it it's a solid 8.5, 9 out of 10 for me at this point.
Interesting.
Yeah. Finn, where are you at on the physics aspect? Because I feel like you brought up categories. I feel like after we've touched on the physics, I think that we could kind of put this into compartments a little bit, because I've had some thoughts on career, and I've also got some thoughts, like you brought up graphics and stuff like that. So
yeah, well, I'll stick to driving feel and then we'll move around. So driving feel, what I think the previous NASCAR controller-based games missed that NASCAR 25 does a really good job of is the capturing the ability to recreate with a controller how the stock car drives on the track. Very present, and it's very noticeable on corner exit. Okay, corner exit and mid corner. When I watch and I whatever camera angle I'm in, whenever I'm driving in NASCAR Heat or those other games, it's like the rear end is like fishtailing, and then you're back and you're fishing. And so it's a lot of movement mid corner, and then coming off of the corner on exit, it's again you're just battling this fishtailing. Whereas it seems like when you're releasing the throttle back from turned back to centralized, it feels like the car does what the NASCAR cars should do in the way that the car arcs out of the corner, and it does a really, really good job. And I feel it a lot in the ability to really get down and out, back up, tracking to the wall, out, back to the wall. And even when I'm holding a high lane, I feel like I'm holding the lane, not just like, pressing with the left stick, then it straightens it out with the left stick, and then the car's just kind of wobbling. So it does a really, really good job. And I think that's the feel that everybody's getting. That's like, oh, yeah, there we go. Because the car on the exit of corners feels good. Second,
that wiggle can't happen in a NASCAR game. And that was Heat 5.
Yes, that is the Heat game.
I'm constantly just tap, 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 tap. Like, that's not.
In fact, the only place I feel that right now, and where I'm probably the weakest at driving, is the drafting tracks, the super speedway tracks, right? And I think I just need to probably go after a tighter setup on those. I'm keeping it a little loose, and it's a little bit harder for me to hold my lane, but I'm also not doing those a lot. I don't willingly go into Daytona lobbies online and stuff, so
it's a mess.
That might be user error. Second thing, different tracks, different feels, and the people that take the time to learn when to lift and when to get back on the throttle are better. Like, I didn't practice Heat at all, and we could just hop into Heat lobbies, and I was just felt like I was just smoking people, because it was just like it's brain dead on my own halves. Light lift entry, like literally 50%, and then back in the throttle, and then the car settled, and then you're just driving around. Here, Charlotte is tough. You are off throttle a good chunk of the time in Charlotte. And then you go to Vegas, and it's not as off throttle. It's high lane. And then you go middle lane, and you start getting tight. Okay, cool. And then you go to Texas, and you have to be way early off the throttle.
Way out of throttle.
I love
in 1 and 2 in Texas. You're like in the wall.
Right.
If you're in the throttle.
Right. Extremely. Yeah. I love the fact that there has to be there's a sense of, ooh, I'm battling the track, instead of just like it's the same thing no matter what. And not only that, Nick mentioned this, and I agree with him. One of the when you're driving a stock car, there are 3 things in order that you should be doing for the rotation of the car in the middle of the corner for various reasons, right? To help the car rotate if you're struggling. And the third one is steering. You really want to limit how much extra steering you're doing in stock cars to get rotation in the middle of the corner, whether that be at a short track or whether that be at a mile and a half. right? But let me put you into the high lane at Kansas, right? You drive it in high, you're coasting your throttle, and then you can feel it getting tight. Okay, you can feel the car a little tight. Okay, and you're thinking, well, what do I do to get it not tight? In heat, you just have to lift and like turn left. In this game, mash the throttle. Turning the car with the throttle is a thing in this game where you get those revs high, you get back on the throttle, and the back end comes around, and you can actually, like, that is a huge part of what you do in iRacing and what they do in real life. So being able to turn the car with the throttle at these 1.5 miles, because at heat, it's just like as soon as you're back on the throttle, you're drifting up. No, here, because of the way that they have those physics, when you hit the throttle, the rear of the car wants to come around on these tracks, and then you're good. And that is a huge thing. To be able to turn the car with the throttle is a huge thing, and they have that in this game, and I enjoy that. Tire wear, I did a 30-lap run, or no, I did a 15-lap run Vegas High Line, and then I did a 15-lap run Vegas Low Line, and I was saving more tire on the low line, and so I had better tire wear, and I was only, after 15 laps, 0.5 tenths of a second at the point behind before the lap times were extremely favoring the guy that was saving tire in the low lane. So there is an element of tire wear here with different lanes. It's not as drastic as you might find elsewhere. And I also, a 15-lap run with 4x wear. So that's, I don't know what that, or 3x wear, I think. So that's technically like a 30, 40-lap run, I guess you could say, on the wear. So there is tire wear. I don't think it's that prevalent. I do say at some of the tracks there's not really 2 lanes, but hey, we've had some good racing. I like how hard it is to get on the throttle in the cup cars on short tracks. Have you guys tried a short track or a road course?
Yeah. Yes.
Those low gears are you have to, the throttle control, and if I don't, if you guys know this, but if you go into the settings, there's a setting called throttle non-linear. And just so you know, what that does is, like, if you put the throttle at nonlinear at 0, then that means when you're hitting 100, like the gas at 100%, it's 100% gunned. It's trying to go. Whereas if you are off it, it's off at 100%. If you put that at like what I have at 75 for short tracks, when you mash hard onto the throttle, it doesn't just go from 0 to 100. It, like, literally the game will go, okay, we're ramping up the throttle.
Yeah.
We're ramping that throttle up cleaner. And that will stop you. So if you're having an issue on short tracks and road courses, especially in the cup car with like getting extremely loose, I like that. I'd like that the settings and sliders matter. So that's good. So yeah, that's my thoughts on driving feel. I thought they did a really, really good job. I think right now my struggles with super speedways are a me problem, not a car problem. Graphics, I think they just need to go remove some objects from some of these bigger tracks and make it easier. Focus on rendering the track first, not the trees in the background. That's why Pocono and Watkins Glen look like garbage, because there's just trees everywhere at those tracks, But that being said, I don't know. I want to give the graphics like a 5 out of 10. Like, even like the ARCA car.
It's not great.
It does not look like a next gen video game. It does not look like a next. It looks like an Xbox One video game. It doesn't look, and I won't go as drastic to say Xbox 360, but it does not look like how.
It also doesn't look how they made it look when they were doing the pre-release.
Those were all PC
stuff.
models. That's why they were all running on the PC engine. So if you're buying it on PC, I think the graphics will be great. I will say this: I did race a Pocono. Outside of it graphically looking a little bit grainy and stuff like that, it didn't race bad. Pocono raced good.
No. It doesn't race bad. It just doesn't look good.
Yeah, it just doesn't look too good. But like Indy looked good when we were racing in Indy. Vegas looks really, really good. Yeah, and that glare hitting Jeff, he's screaming, "I can't see anything." Those are fine, but
still, like Phoenix drives me nuts in that game for that reason, and it should, right? Like it's supposed to.
It's certainly blurry.
The one that got me, and the immediately hit, like you brought up Pocono, we're not talking about we're just nitpicking little bits. what it immediately reminded me of, like, and I said this immediately, I was like, why does this look like I'm playing like Ridge Racer on PS1 on the first move down the front stretch? Because it's a combo of like the shadows from the fencing on the front stretch and the way that they're being rendered along with the way the car's moving, it almost gives you like this weird boxy feeling on the graphic on the car itself, which just feels really strange. Like it is a jarring difference going from Kansas to Pocono, for example. Like it
Yeah.
is a completely different feel when you see it. I know I haven't raced at every track in the game yet. I'm getting close. So I can't. I know Watkins Glen, I know Pocono are the two like worst offenders thus far. But I haven't been able to pick out a couple others that have done the same thing. I mean, hell, if only two tracks are doing that at everything else, this is fixable. You know, these are things that can potentially be
Well,
changed and could get better, which is a positive sign.
and the thing that I will say for that is I don't know what the life cycle of creating a video game is. I don't know anything about it, but I would rather they got the physics right and fix the graphics later than get the graphics right and fix the physics later.
Yeah,
Like
I think they're just.
if I had to have one or the other, I'm glad the physics are right.
Yeah, I think they just pushed a little too hard for the 60 frames and sacrificed graphics a lot to do so because they all. I mean, just to be clear, they are 100% using the iRacing layouts. When you're racing Watkins Glen, you can go race the boot. I was laughing earlier. A guy was doing the Homestead Road Course. He was messing around doing the. No, granted, on one of the back stretches, there's just RVs everywhere, but you could drive right through them. But like, hey guys, clean all that out. That Xbox Series S. Look, I mean, apparently it's not horrible. On that, do you guys are we all Series S or?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Apparently that's where the bad is.
The S is the bad place.
Yeah, the S is the bad place, or the normal PlayStation, not PS Pro or whatever. But AI, let's go to career mode. How far are you guys in the career mode? Let's get a preference here. Let's not spoil anything for anybody per se, but just talk about the main things, not like special features or anything like that.
I think I'm like 4 races out from the end of my first ARCA season, so I'll be moving to trucks here very shortly.
Okay. I'm at Iowa in the ARCA series right now. So again, like 7-ish.
I'm beyond you by a few.
I think I'm in the exact same spot.
Okay, so we're all in ARCA cars. We're probably all are finally kind of competitive. Okay, right? You're competing to wins if you haven't won a race or two already.
Yeah.
What? Here's my thoughts. One, I have the AI at 100, and it feels pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm racing. There's
challenging but not impossible.
Challenging but not impossible. I've got tier 5 parts, and I'm not winning at every race. I'm slow. I was really struggling at North Wilkesboro. No, IRP, Lucas Oil IRP, Indianapolis Raceway Park.
That one got me bad too, man. Like that was one of my worst performances. Yeah,
high lane, really struggling. Mile and a half to feel good at. The road course, I'm pretty good at road courses, so I did solid there. But AI feels good, right? In that they're annoying. You will catch a block from a lapper, but they change lines on me. I was watching one guy. I went low, and he was low behind me because I was just watching to see if he was following me. And then a couple laps later, he was going high lane, and I was like, oh. AI just decided to change things up. He didn't catch me, and then I went high, and then he started going low. So, he's the guy behind me's changing lanes. They're difficult. They fight with you. So definitely solid there. How do we feel about features so far? And what I mean by that is like how the career mode things. Because right now, one of the things I said was I really hate just text clicky. Read this thing. Do you want to do this or this? How do we feel on that so far? Because it feels like a lot of that.
Yeah, I was actually interesting. I was interested in what your thoughts were going to be on that, because I kind of was, as we were going through career, I was like, I felt like you were going to be disappointed. because they didn't on a lot of the things that I know you were like kind of reaching for to come out on the career side. I don't think they checked. Now, I went into it with the mindset of I feel like there is a fine line between some of those things being um like good and fun and being able to turn over to obnoxious and annoying very quickly. So I understand why it would probably be better to stay on the safe side without trying to like overcomplicate it too much with the off track stuff.
Right.
But I am enjoying it so far. I am already running into some repetitiveness with some of the reactions from like other drivers, repeated tweets, so to speak, and like headlines and other things like that. Running into that kind of stuff. But I mean, that was gonna happen. Um, the idea of being able to change the parts and doing stuff like that, I think they did a good job of adding that as a factor that does make a actual tremendous difference. So I just ran into a part in my career right now where I have to start making some decisions on having backup parts or having parts that are no longer repairable, and when or if I need to sell things to get other stuff. So those are things to take into account, and also the different tiered equipment that you can get, and whether you have to actually make the decision on like whether or not you're ready to step your equipment up here and keep your team moving up to this level or staying down here. Awesome addition, fantastic idea, and they're following through with that because you can feel a real difference in equipment. So I think they hit on that part. I think on the, I guess the word I could use might be like ambient type of feels, things that are like features and stuff like that of a career mode that immerse you a little further, whether they should or shouldn't go that far. I felt like they played that very safe. So I wasn't sure how you felt about that one.
Yeah, well, first of all, they harped about what we're trying to capture the driver, what the driver goes through, and yada yada yada. And I'm not gonna lie, right now, that little thing where you're just sitting in the car practice and you give a thumbs up before you go out, or when you're on pit road around the qualify and just one guy waves you on, that doesn't capture the essence at all. A repetitive cutscene that is less than 3 seconds long, where the only thing you can do is press A to move forward. That I don't know where they thought that was going to be a good marketing point or selling point in their dev diaries. But it really gives me guys, again, I love what they're done here, but it really gives me guys that are a little bit too into their idea. It's like when a guy shows you a song, because I'm one of those guys, and he wants to break down like all these cool little nuances. He's like, yo, I did this like thing. It was like, yeah, that was like a 2-second thing. Thanks for explaining to me everything in that song that took place for 2 seconds. Like it's irrelevant to the story. In fact, almost want to skip it at this point, right? All of the career options and things are menu items. I do not care about menu clicking. It feels nothing to me. It's do I want to do this or this? I just pick like, do I want money right now or rep right now? And like, I don't, none of it. And granted, even if they come in and they say like, oh no,
you're with extra steps.
Your hauler, right? Your hauler broke down. Now you don't have this. Like, no, I would rather be racing and the game manufacture a flat tire mid race. Yeah. I would rather it be, oh no, we forgot to put the our lug nuts didn't go on, and now you have to come down. Hey, we got a loose tire, and you just feel the car jittering, right? I feel nothing. I think they completely missed the idea of capturing what a driver goes through. The only thing saving the career mode is the fact that you have to work up the parts and feeling the car get better. That's solid. That's fine. But knowing like it's going to be this, there's no opportunity. Oh, you might, one playthrough, you have to spend an extra year in trucks and then move up, when an opportunity arises. And then 1 year, somebody, hey, somebody got hurt. Justin Haley just got fired. We need somebody to compete in the 7 for the rest of the season. Can you finish the last 4 races? Okay, cool. You know what I mean? Like the lack of that existing means it's just going to be the same thing as you go. Now, I did see when you have multiple cars, like this week's car, the next week's car, and you have to tell your crew, hey, crew, hey, we're going to focus just on this week's car. Because I do like the idea of like, oh shit, I can either buy new parts right now or I can do this race with the suspensions at 75%. And you can feel when you're a little off. You can feel when you're a little off and you're like, hey, road course, don't even repair it, brother. I'm racing it as is. Save your points for the next week's car. Like, cool. You know what I mean? I get that. And I do like that element of strategy. There's just nothing. There's no like sponsorship. Finish top 10. More. There should be more to earning a sponsorship.
So I have a proposal for you on that front that I feel like it touches a little more, I guess, on kind of what you're looking at, that would be an idea for moving forward on that. Is it seems to me some of the things that you're looking for might be more associated with what some of the other sports games have done in incorporating like a story mode. And the reason why I say that is like, because when you bring up the idea of like, oh, you lose a tire coming off a pit road or you're doing something like that, I'm fine from a functional perspective. I'm not sure how you do that without incorporating like a cutscene, or something along those lines, like in the race to do that, because you're going from either in game or out of game. And if they ran it like a story mode function, maybe for your first season, like a lot of like the EAA games have done with FIFA or with Madden or with NHL or some other things like that, they'll do something where it's like, you're jumping into this race and they do all the cool like build up and the scenes and like there's a cinematic, and then next thing you know you're in the car and you got to do this, and then you're at this lap, and then all of a sudden they have commentators going and it's you and you're pulling out of the pits and your tire falls off and you got to come back and you got to like.
No, I don't want that. I don't need, and you don't need that because that just takes extra processing power for something that you're not really going to remember, right? Well, what you remember is, for example, this is how I think that element should go. When you come down to do a pit stop, you are asking to get 2 cans of fuel and 4 fresh tires. And that pit stop is going to be, call it 13 seconds. Okay? And what should happen as that gets triggered at the moment that you enter your pit box, right? There should be a dice roll. Effectively think Baldur's Gate, if you guys have ever played Baldur's Gate. There should effectively be a dice roll. And the dice roll should be, it should have percentages that help it in favor or against certain things. For example, we should have something where, because right now, is there anything that you guys have seen that I've seen that can improve your pit crew and your pit crew times?
No, which that would be an interesting function.
Right, there's nothing, right? So the pit crew, I don't know about you guys, but I lose about 10 seconds on pit road alone. Like, my pit crew is awful, and I think part of that is that animation. But point is, let's say your pit crew is really, really good. So you get a positive modifier to that dice roll, right? So if you roll a 15 or better, plus your modifier, so whatever you roll plus 5 because your pit crew has a good modifier, then you have a successful pit stop, no issues. Okay? And the better your pit crew, the better that modifier. And then, guess what? Sometimes you're going to roll a nat 1. You're going to roll a natural 1. And that could kick off a number of things, right? One, it could be a slow pit stop. Like, the wheel didn't get on the way, right? So you get, like, an animation that triggers the... I mean, they have a pit crew cutscene, so just have other pit crew cutscenes that are a little bit longer, where it's like, oh, hold on, the wheel's not on, and then you have to deal with that. Okay, that's one negative outcome. The next negative outcome that can be triggered is not, you didn't get 2 cans of fuel, a la Denny at the 600.
Say less fuel,
right?
Another one,
so hey, and then he mics up, hey, we don't think we got all the fuel in the car, so expect to be about 5 laps short. And if you pit well within your window, then you're fine. And if you were cutting it close, now it's a negative thing that happened, but it might not impact you based on how you pit, and it might change your strategy of how you pit now, right? Instead of pitting and getting your 2 cans and going, yep, I can make it, you might stretch that an extra couple laps to make sure if there's a bad pit stop. Right now, you're making decisions, staying out on older tires for 2 more laps to guarantee that even if you have a bad fuel pit stop, you're good to go. And then maybe one more thing could be like a grave scenario, which is, the ticking time bomb, and you're unaware of it, but basically in X amount of laps, your right front's going to blow. You know what I mean? Or something like that. Or just, periodically throughout a race, there'd be a dice roll. And maybe 99% of the time you pass that dice roll and nothing impacts your car. Okay, I don't want to have something every race impacting you, but nothing impacts. But then one time in your career, you're going to get Brian Blaney at Vegas this week and your right front blows. And if it's a meaningless race, you're already in the playoffs or whatever, okay, cool. But those are things out of the driver's control that can happen that I want to occur, not in a menu. On race day, that is where we are engaging with things. I do not care about, oh no, your crew got held up by TSA and now you can't get into Mexico, so you guys don't get to have practice today. I don't care.
I've got like a couple of thoughts on this particular thing. Like I had a couple of thoughts on these, and because it leads into two things. What you're getting at with it, for one, I think in order to do what you're talking about, career mode would have to have a fixed race length as opposed to a variable one. Because I know for me, while I'm running ARCA, I'm running a minimal amount of laps. And then once I get to truck, I'm going to extend it. And then once I bump up from that, I'll extend it a little more. So you would have to have kind of a fixed length at a certain point in order to do it. And then this touches on something that I was a little bit disappointed on myself. I kind of wanted a little bit more out of the spotter radio and radio communication in general.
No,
I would have loved to have not just had one voice in my ear of like one spotter. It's just up high, clear low, down low, up high if you want.
And not even that. You're not even clear.
No, and it's not even accurate most of the time. And those are, that one was disappointing. Could be much better. And I would like to have a couple different voices. Let me hear from the crew chief every now and then. Let me hear from the crew chief and the spotter. Let me hear some scenario-based things. Like, let me get a little bit. And again, this is another one of those things where this is either going to be incredibly cool, or it could get extremely annoying and feel like you're doing too much. So we can break it can break away on that one. But these are things to build on and get better. So it could get. There are some things to build off of and make for improvements in the next installment of the game, because I don't think these are things that are coming in some kind of large patch. So,
well, if you cut off, just kill the cam and mute, Corey. But yeah, I think, you know what, let's go ahead and wrap up. We're at about an hour and some change here, and Corey's got to go. I think there's going to be.
I would tell you what, I love all the ideas. I saw that rabbit hole starting to spiral, and I'm like, we could redesign this game for the next 3 hours.
Right.
We could sit here.
Again, career mode, I'll give a 5 out of 10 as well. The racing part is fun. I'm finding myself, and I'm in ARCA, it's early, I'm finding myself struggling. The AI is fun. It's not bad. I will say this, I have changed my mind. I will not be buying this game on PC and doing 100% length career mode races. That was my game plan. I don't think I'm there. I just think that they could bake things in, because, just to be clear, this is not a NASCAR 25 thing. There is not a single sports game on the market that has an adequate career mode. It is something that sports games have unanimously across the board are unable to do. Right now, Madden career mode sucks. College football, road to college football playoffs, or road to Heisman, or whatever it's called, sucks. They all suck. And I think at its core, the devs of sports games do not understand what makes a career mode good and how to make it good. You mentioned before Madden and its cutscenes and its, that story mode, even a couple years ago, where it's like basically a football movie, and then you just go in and you're just doing like quick time events and playing plays, and it's like pre-scripted and programmed. Yeah. That's not fun. That's not fun.
So that's subjective, because I know, like, for the FIFA one, like, I enjoyed that one quite a bit for the way that some of those story went, stuff like that. There were things that could be annoying, and I might be in the minority on that. 2K had theirs where Spike Lee did like directed some of those, and there was some of the most absolute gems
Now, let
of
me be clear.
awful dialogue
That's 10
recording
years
and that
ago.
kind of stuff.
Those
Yeah.
were like 10 years ago. In
Yeah,
this
they
era
were
of sports
forever.
games, they have
Yes.
lost the plot completely.
Completely gone on that.
Madden's
Yeah, exactly.
07 career mode is so much better than the current Madden's career mode, and that's just unacceptable. And it's because they have not scaled. They just have not scaled at all.
No.
To what modern games?
Yeah, because it could be so much better on
It is not
but
cutscenes. It is not off the. You have got to do things that make me feel immersed, and they're not doing that. So, either way, I think it'll be fine. But again, the driving of the game for a console NASCAR game, I'm willing to give it a 9 out of 10 in that regard. It's a good time. It's a fun time. I think the league and all the guys that are in it are gonna enjoy it. I think we're gonna have more content based around that.
And Nick said here in the chat, and it's a point that I've been thinking in my head the whole time I've been having this conversation, is this is the foundation. Like, it's a good foundation for them to build a series on. This is not the magnum opus. This is like the intro song, right? So it's just the foundation, and I think it's just going to get better from here.
For sure. I mean, yeah, they don't have to spend a whole lot of time upgrading maps, right? It's not like okay, some roster changes, some paint. Okay, that all gets slapped on the car. That'll take a month. I think, you're right. They don't. The AI model isn't going to have to change too
Motorsport
much.
games had a decade, and iRacing threw this game together in like a year and a half.
Yeah.
So it's only going to get better from here.
Exactly. And so, and to all of that same point, like as we're rolling in towards the end here as we're wrapping up, you will start seeing as the NASCAR season starts to wrap, you'll start to see more content from us getting pushed out on Twitch from actual like race clips, race streams, league races, and other things like that we'll end up starting to focus some other stuff. We have a few other things in the hopper that we're planning for everybody regarding episodes and stuff like that as the season starts to wrap up, and you will also see a lot more NASCAR 25 content from us as there is less IRL racing to talk about from a NASCAR perspective anyway. So make sure you're keeping a lookout for that. Absolutely jump into the Discord if you're interested in the league. We are always looking to add more people. The links for that will be in the episode descriptions, because one of the things that I would love to see that expand to is, like, right now we're talking about an Xbox league and where that's going. If you're a PS5 racer, coming up here in a month, if you're a PC racer, we will be able to expand, and we will do that. We may ask for a little bit of help on the moderation and management perspective on some races on some stuff that maybe we're not in because of our own hardware limitations. But we're looking to expand this into something that could be a lot of fun for a lot of people, and we're not trying to shut anybody out. So we want to make sure that we're opening that factor up to a lot of things, because it's only going to make it better to go that route. But yeah, either way, that's going to wrap things up.
Oh, hold on. Are we all in agreement that Talladega is just shuffle up and deal? No one knows what's going to happen.
Well, yeah, but we still got to make picks, brother.
Yeah,
I mean, we're going to make picks, but like, there's really no point in like really trying to break it down at all. We already talked about the playoff standings. Talking about
there's
no
nothing
previewing
to break down
Talladega
right now. It's going to be chaos. Right. Take your pick.
So, Finley, who you got, buddy?
I got Brad Keselowski.
Brad K. Jeffrey.
I'm taking Ryan Blaney.
He is rated 100. No, Logano's rated 100 at super speedways.
I will take William Byron.
Ooh, comeback of Willie B. All right.
Yes.
Lead us out there, Jeff.
Waiting to see if this carries into chat in time for Nick to make his pick, but we'll get his later.
I'm sure he'll tell us.
Yeah. Either way, that's going to wrap things up for us this week. Please keep an eye out for the episode descriptions to join up in the Discord. You can find us on Twitch, as you already have, under the name IntWreckPod. You can find us on YouTube under the same name. You can find us on all of your favorite audio platforms under the name Intentional Wreck. And let's look out for Talladega. I hope everybody has an awesome weekend, and we will catch you all next week.
I'm going to sleep.
See ya.